Hello everyone, welcome to today's Vision 6 Power Session, tips and tricks to increase your open rate. My name's Andy, I'm the product trainer here at Vision 6 in our Brisbane office. I'll be taking you through today's session. So when it comes to email, most people will make a few little quick sort of snap decisions, almost subconsciously, before they go and open the email. And these are some of the things that drive an open. And what are they? So we've got the sender or from name. This is who the email appears to be coming from. I've got a little screenshot here of a message in Vision 6, and the from name is set to XYZ Donuts. You'll be surprised. I've seen a lot of people have from names as just their email address, which is a bit interesting. It should always be a from name, not just an email address. So a company name or a person's name, some way to identify the sender of the message. Now, often I've also seen companies these days putting in a person's name, for example, the sales rep or the customer success manager or something like that. And that can work quite well as well, just putting in a person's name there as opposed to a company name. It generally looks like it's a more personalized email and more people are then inclined to open it. So that can work, certainly something worthwhile trying to see if that has an increase in your open rate. Also, the subject as well is a big thing that people will look at, of course, when deciding whether they should open an email or just click on the bin icon next to it and trash it straight away. So one of the great things you can do with the subject, of course, is personalize it, and we'll show you how to do that in a few moments. But here in our example, you can see we've got a fairly short subject. It uses an emoji at the end here, and it's been personalized with the person's first name. So some good things there that you can do, and we recommend doing to make your subject sort of stand out in the inbox. We've got the personalization, it's short, and of course an emoji there as well to attract attention. Of course, not all brands or companies will have in their brand guidelines that they can or should use an emoji. Generally, a larger government department or a university may not use an emoji. But of course, if you're sort of running a smaller business or something like that, then by all means try that, particularly if it's something you haven't done before, just to see what will work best for you. The preview text is what appears on the person's in the person's inbox in the email message, just underneath the subject and the from name. You may have seen emails that you've received from people over the years. Initially, that preview text there probably used to say something like, the link of an image or click to view this email online, that kind of thing. You can personalize that nowadays. It's sort of a little known feature. So I've done that there with Tom. This email is for you as an example of some preview text. And of course there, as you can see, it can be personalized as well. So it's sort of another little chance or a section for you to add a little bit more context as to what the email is about. So certainly recommend doing that. Of course, you can edit the preview text. I'll show you how shortly, but definitely worthwhile doing because it gives you that little chance to explain a bit more about the email, what they can expect. And it's just one of those other little things that a person uses to decide whether or not they should open an email as opposed to deleting it. Expectancy is important as well. So if you've signed up for something on a website, maybe a newsletter subscription form, or download an ebook or a guide or something like that, you would expect to get an email pretty soon after that. So for example, if you are requesting an ebook download, you would expect to get that email within a couple of minutes. So of course the expectancy there to get an email from you is quite high. However, if you've imported a list of contacts from 6 years ago that you collected at a convention or something like that, and you're only just emailing them again now, the expectancy is going to be a bit different. The person will go, hey, I haven't heard from this company in years. Why are they suddenly emailing me now? So again, expectancy is very important. Don't email people just because you have their email address. There should be some sort of reason why you're emailing them. Did they reach out? Did they say that they'd like a newsletter from you? Are they expecting an email from you? Timing is important too. So there's some different things you can try. It used to be that the most popular time to send an email was Tuesday morning or Thursday morning. That changes all the time, especially with more people working from home. People will tend to check their email a lot earlier. Me, for example, I'll get up early in the morning and just check my work email over breakfast. I'm not officially at work yet or working, but I'll do it then because it's something to do. So it's just really changed the way that timing piece works, and there isn't necessarily really a best time to send an email. What's worked well for me, what I've seen work well for others, is you'll get a lot of people who will check the email first thing in the morning. So sending an email at that time can really help be number one in that person's inbox. Most people tend to check from the most recent email and work backwards, which is a bit odd, but I do this and a lot of people do this as well. So definitely worthwhile trying to get to the top of someone's inbox. So maybe you should send your email at, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night, and then the next morning you'll be first in their inbox potentially, or just send it early in the morning as well. So some good things there around timing. It depends also on the type of business. So if you're B2B versus B2C, that can change things as well. So sometimes if you're B2C, then sending an email around lunchtime or break times or just after work or on weekends will work really well. But B2B, it can be the complete opposite as well. So try different things. Of course, with all of these, try them, see what works best for you. I've got a little piece on reporting shortly, which we'll go through as well to see how you can see what's working. And of course, the last one there, what can drive an email open, is the usability. So if you've designed an email that doesn't work well for vision impaired readers, then there's an issue there where you're sort of omitting a percentage of your audience immediately just by not designing your email properly or following best practice. Some good examples there are if you're not using headings within your email and it's a fairly long email, that again doesn't work well for the screen reader software that vision impaired users will use to interact with your email. Similarly, if you don't add alt text to your images, again, those particular contacts on your list can't interact with your email, and it may just be binned or they'll unsubscribe. So usability is a very important piece as well. So now that we know what drives an open, what things can we tweak or what things can we change and adjust to try and increase our open rate? So we'll go through some of these things in more detail within the platform now to show you how to adjust these. The first one being the from name. Check to ensure your from name is correct and is what you'd like people to see. So if I just go into my messages area here, I'll just open up an email message that I've got here. We'll just look at our newsletter. And we can come down into message details. This can also be accessed when you're editing the message as well. You can press message details up here. And here you'll see things like the from name down here and the from email address over here on the right-hand side. So just check that those are relevant and those are that they're correct for what you want them to be. With subject lines, of course, you can A/B test subjects in Vision 6, and we highly recommend doing so. What this will do is it's on the send screen here, and it allows you to try 2 different subjects in case you're not sure which one will work better. And in this case, I might do one with personalization and one without, like that, and see which one works better. So I'm pretty sure the top one, subject A, will work better because it is personalized. Similarly, you could try one with the emoji, one without. You could try the emoji at the start versus the emoji at the end. So sort of try different things. Don't change too much though, because then you don't know what caused the increase in the open rate. So just try a couple of subtle different things here with an A/B test. A very underutilized feature, but highly recommend using it. So what this will do is Vision 6 will send your email with subject line A to 10% of the contacts that you've chosen to send it to. It'll then send an email or the email with subject line B to another 10% of your contacts from your list. And after 4 hours, it decides and has a look to see which email subject got a better open rate. It must then be better. And that version of it then goes out to everyone else on your list, the remaining 80% automatically. Now you can adjust these settings here, but we normally recommend leaving them as 4 hours and then the 20% test size here. And of course, when you choose your contacts as to who you're sending this email to, that's then who will get the test. So 10% of your chosen contacts will get test A, 10% will get test B, and so on. So that's all automatic. Once a winner is determined after 4 hours, it'll automatically send that version of the email out as well. So yeah, all automated, definitely worthwhile using that little feature there. Also on the subject, you could try a long versus a short subject, and that might be an A/B test that you run as well. They say the general good length for a subject is between 4 and 8 words, around 20 to 30 characters in your subject line. But again, it always changes, depends on your audience, the age group, time of day, B2C versus B2B, all these kind of things have a different factor. So your results will vary. Also, you can try an emoji in there, as we had in my example, and also the personalization as well might be worthwhile trying. In case you're wondering, how do I get an emoji in the subject line? All you need to do is go into Google and type in what you want. So in this case, I've just put in donut emoji. On there, you can just copy it. And then in here, once it's in your computer's memory or your clipboard, just press the paste button, or right-click paste or whatever it might be to paste it in there, and then you can get it into your email that way. Similarly, when you are here in the message details, this is where, of course, you can change the subject and the preview text in here. And of course, similarly, you can paste your emoji into there as well. Now, in case you're wondering, how do we personalize the subject? What if you wanted to insert the person's first name or maybe their state? You could say, special offers for you, first name, in the state of state. So, for example, that would say special offers for you, Andy, in the state of Queensland. Again, it's making the email very personalized. The person thinks it's just for them. Oh, these are just specials that I've got. Again, that will increase your open rate and click-throughs and engagement, that type of thing. So how do we put this into our email? Just put your little flashing cursor where you want that wildcard to go, or where the personalization should go. And then down the end, press the plus button and choose the field you want to insert. So on my list, I've got quite a few different fields here for different things, but the first name is the one I'd like to put in, so I can just insert that there. Similarly, you can put first names and other personalizations into the preview text as well. And that's what I've done there, just by pasting that wildcard in there. So that's something you can do as well. Copy and paste between here and here. Of course, make your preview text a little bit different, but you can certainly personalize and paste in all your wildcards. And finally, from a usability point of view, it's always a good idea to follow email design best practice. In general, that's always a good thing to do. So we have a fantastic support article on that. If you go to our support center, which is support.vision6.com.au, or you can get to it by clicking on the question mark and going to Help Center in the top right of the program. And just search for email design best practices, or even email design, and it should come up first. This is a fairly long article, but it walks you through all sorts of different tips and tricks, general best practices for building emails within our platform, and just in general as well. Things to do with width, images, links, text, personalization, subject, and so on. And of course, the all-important one, designing for accessibility, and of course, supporting those with a vision impairment. So this walks you through some fantastic things you should do with your email. But in short, there's a couple of things you can do to make sure your email is as accessible as possible. One is, every time you use an image, use the alt text section over here on the right-hand side to put in some information about that image. So I've just got some text here already that I've put in, which says, banner image displaying various chocolate tarts on a white plate adorned with various berries such as strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. So essentially, it's painting a picture for those that have a vision impairment to describe the image, what they're seeing. Similarly, down here, I've got on the image alt text I can put in, of pink donut, for example, pink donut, something like that, to describe the image. And those who use screen reader software to read emails out to them, it will then read out the alt text on images as well, so they know what the image is. One other thing, and this is mentioned in our best practice document, is occasionally I'll see or receive emails from online stores where the whole email is one big picture. The problem with that is that those with a vision impairment can't do anything with that email. It's can't be used. There's no text on the email. I can't search for that email if I'm trying to find it again. There's no text in the email to search for. It increases load times, and it just makes it very hard to be able to do anything with that email because it's literally, there's no text in the email. Similarly, if I'm using Google Assistant or Siri or something like that to read emails out to me, they can't do anything with that email because, again, there is no text to read out. It's just one giant picture with text on it, potentially. So just keep an eye out for that as well. Make sure you don't do that where possible. Certainly, by all means, still use images in your email, but just don't make the whole email one big picture. Having text as well is great because it can be read out to people. One other thing that I just mentioned there with also in our slide presentation was the headings as well. If you have headings in your email, try and use this heading 1, 2, 3 over here on the left-hand side. Now you might be wondering, hang on, Andy, why can't I just make my font bold and larger? Wouldn't that achieve the same thing? Yes, it does. But the only thing is, if you're using, or if you have users on your contact list with a vision impairment, their screen reader software will allow them to jump between different headings within the message. It almost reads it out to them like a bit of a table of contents. So what they can do is, or what those users can do is have the email read out to them, but just the headings. Kind of like what we do what I'm doing right now is sort of skimming this email, looking at the headings and then stopping at one that I'm interested in and then reading that article. And this only works if you're using the heading 1, 2s, and 3s over here for your headings. That's just some of the quick ways that we can make our email more openable, essentially, how to increase our open rate. And you can find a lot more of those here on our email design best practices support article. And finally, once you've got all these things that you're making, you've got these different tweaks, you're trying different A/B tests, different imagery, different subjects, all these type of things. How do we know what's actually working? Well, that's what the reporting section is there for. So if we come into the reports area here on the left-hand side, and then we open up one of our emails that we have, I'll just find one with a little bit more information. Here we go. Here in the reporting, you can see things like the open rate, the unopens, the click-throughs, and so on. Also on the click map, which gives us a visual representation of our email, almost like a screenshot. And you can see the percentage of users that clicked on a certain item. So this is good for also seeing what topics were of interest within your message, but also it can help you decide whether you should put links on images or within the text or just on buttons as well. So some good insights from there as well. But essentially the other good thing is here on the reporting overview screen, so just hide some of my test messages here, we can scroll across and compare the open rate and click-through rates as a percentage or a whole number here as well. And this is good for comparing email sends. So if you've done a send last month where you had a short subject and a send this month where you had a long subject and the content was fairly similar, like it maybe was just a standard newsletter, then of course you can compare that on the overview screen here to see which email got a better open rate or a better click-through rate, that type of thing. So use your reports and then analyze any changes over time. Of course, it's generally only a best idea to alter one thing at a time. Otherwise, you don't really know which tweak that you made is the one that caused the increase or decrease in an open rate. So it can take a bit of time to find what works best for you, the pattern of what works best. But again, altering one thing at a time makes it much easier to work out what the thing is that's either causing the increase or the decrease. And of course, you can then view and compare your opens over time on this screen here. Have a look at your opens and see what's working best. And then, of course, drill it down back to what could have made that change. Well, thanks again for tuning in to today's Vision 6 Power Session, tips and tricks to increase your open rate. My name's Andy. Hope you've enjoyed today's session. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks again.